All right, everyone. Thanks for joining me for another Coyote Radio show and podcast. Great guest today. Cole Ritter's with us. Recently saw him live at Duke's Indy. Great performer. I love his EP that he's got out. It's called Between the Hours of Dusk and Dawn. It's got 5 tracks on there. We're going to talk a little bit about that and, kind of his whole background of where he got started. But before we talk to him, I do want to say thanks to everyone that's been liking, sharing, subscribing. We're on, Instagram and Facebook and all that good stuff. Uh, YouTube, of course, if you're watching, and all the podcast platforms as well, if you're just listening in. So things are good. We got a lot of guests coming up here for this month, and I think April's getting pretty full too, really. There's a lot of shows coming to town, lots of great festivals to get out and see, but we're going to talk about that later. For now, we're going to talk to Cole. Thanks for watching, guys. All right, Cole Ritter's with us. Man, was it a week ago? Has it already been a week? Maybe 2
Yeah,
weeks? 2
yeah,
weeks
already been,
ago?
yeah, a week and a half maybe. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah. Hell of a performance. Excited to talk to you and kind of get your whole background and story. I'm a new fan, I'm pretty new to your music and I love it.
Thanks,
So,
man. I appreciate that.
yeah, if you could just kind of start from the beginning, that's usually where we start, with the first timers on the show.
Yeah, so I was born about 45 minutes north of Nashville, in Hendersonville, Tennessee, which was home of Johnny Cash. Um, and yeah, I grew up there, and I was constantly being surrounded by music from a very early age. My dad was a great guitar player, and my mom, she was all into musical theater, but she also had a really strong, deep love for everything from rock and roll to country music and beyond. And when I was around 3 years old, I, for the very first time, got to witness violin players, and they were classical, but still, I thought that that was the coolest thing, to see little kids my own age playing such a complex instrument. And immediately, I knew I wanted to get my hands on one of those things. So after I begged for about 6 months straight, my mom finally allowed me to do that, and yeah, so I started playing fiddle at 3 years old. And I'm 22 now, so it's going to be 20 years this October.
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, but like as soon as I saw it, like I knew that that was something that I had to get my hands on. I just like couldn't get it out of my head even from then. And I remember my first lesson, and just I'm still infatuated by the instrument. I mean, I just think it's such a unique sound and texture, and I think that that had a very strong influence on the types of music I was listening to, and which eventually led to my own artistry.
Right. Um, yeah, I mean, I can't even pick one up and make a note with it. It's just scratching is all you get for me.
Oh, that's okay.
What kind of music were you listening to that had that type of violin behind it, and was there a certain artist or?
Yeah, so from a very early age, I was already listening to bluegrass just around like my parents and my grandparents. They were really into bluegrass, and I was starting to learn some fiddle tunes by the time I was maybe like 6 or 7. I had started kind of working on those, and I liked it enough that I wanted to find a teacher who taught solely fiddle music, not just classical music. And I had looked a little bit into the fiddle tunes, but didn't I wanted a real teacher, and so my very first fiddle teacher ended up being one of the most prolific fiddle players in Nashville. His name is Kenny Sears, and he played with so many great giant country musicians of the 50s, 60s, and 70s. And he was from Texas himself, so he got me exposed to Texas swing music. And that was something that I was instantly obsessed with from the time I think I started taking lessons with him when I was about 10 or 11. And from that age, like all the other kids were listening to like dubstep, I think at the time. And I was the weird kid listening to like Bob Wills and the Texas Playboys at 11 years old.
Dude, that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
You
Well,
you played a Bob Wills cover that I love, Bubbles in My Beer at the show, and you did it justice.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah. Well, I just can't. No matter what I do, whatever kind of music I'm playing, I can't really get that swing feel out of what I'm doing. Whether I'm playing, country music, rock and roll, like a lot of those melodies and ideas are just constantly bouncing in my brain all the time. So I kind of approach playing guitar like a fiddle player would approach things. I think a little bit too, which kind of is maybe a little bit unorthodox.
Yeah. It also makes it pretty unique though too. There's so many there's music coming out every day. There's new bands forming every day, and it's like you got to have something that sets you apart, you know? And I think you guys have a unique sound. Not only live, the EP that we'll dive into, you got the whole like theatrical symphony thing going on, then you got some horns in there. It's like it's a big production, you know. Um
Yeah.
but it's done like it's not overkill. Like you taste of, it's real tasteful as far as arrangement and all that. And that really shows through. I think you got something really good going for you, man. I think this is you're on your way. I think it's going to turn a lot of heads.
Thank you. Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of people, they love to listen to the old Patsy Cline records or Ray Price records or whatever, and I like that old Nashville sound stuff too, and love Marty Robbins, and I think that all those influences definitely, come out in what I'm doing. But the way I see it is, I want to take these old parts and pieces that maybe a lot of people have forgotten about, especially young people in my age. I think that they kind of sleep on some of those really cool string parts and stuff like that, and I just want to bring it back. But with that said, I want to take those old parts and pieces and make something completely new and different. That is going to actually like progress the genre. I'm not trying to be just a nostalgia show, even though I love all that old music and it really defines my sound and who I am. I just want to take those parts and make something new with them though.
Right. Yeah. And you're doing that for sure. Talk to me a little bit about this EP. How long is that? When did that actually come out? It's been what, maybe a year or so?
Yeah, yeah. So that EP came out maybe like February or March of 2022, and we had two singles out before that. Uh, that record was my very first project that I had ever worked on. That was my own project. I started writing most of those songs when I was still a teenager. I was like 19 writing those songs, and you know, we had big ideas of going to go record this thing at RCA, at Studio B, and the thankfully those people over there were super supportive of that, and we were going to go record all that there, and unfortunately, literally a week before we were supposed to record, we had the global pandemic, and obviously that pushed things back and pushed it back, and we just kept pushing back those release dates. But we ended up recording that over at Cowboy Arms Hotel and Recording Spa, which people like Chris Christopherson had recorded at, and Sturgill Simpson, and just so many other fantastic artists. And we had a great tracking engineer named Sean Sullivan who really helped us get those sounds across whenever we were in the studio. And it really came together really well. I mean, it took so long to get out. I think by the time it came out, like we were just kind of ready. We had been ready for it to come out for a really long time. So it just felt like we finally, after being delayed like by an entire year and a half, we felt like our work had finally paid off and we finally were able to get this music out to the world. And since then, a lot of doors have been opened.
Yeah. Major relief, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, we went from 100 miles per hour to zero. I mean, in a matter of just days, and it was
Ugh.
like that for the entire year and a half. And I know a lot of my other fellow artists and songwriters were writing lots of music in that period of time, but me, I just felt dry. Nothing was happening. It was really hard. So that album was my baby. That was like all that I had. You know what I mean. So we really, really put a lot of time and energy into that.
Right. Um, we're kind of thinking switching gears a little bit here. Just popped in my head. Now, did you go to school like for music, not just on the side, but you're actually college? Did you go to
Yeah.
college for music?
Yeah, yeah. So whenever I turned 18, I was kind of unsure about what I wanted to do. There were so many different avenues and pathways, but Belmont University ended up being what sounded the best to me because it kept me here, it kept me in Nashville. There's a lot of great music schools out there, but none that are right in the heart of everything that's going on. And yeah, I mean, I went to Belmont and I was actually a violin major for my first 2 years. And that was incredible. It was very challenging. It's Belmont really is one of the best music schools in the country. And I don't know, I really, really liked it at first, but I think that I was gigging so much on the weekends. Like I was honestly not doing as well as I should have. Grades started to slip. And it kind of got to the point where I can either, do this music thing like full time, like I can go all in, but I'm going to have to drop out, or I can focus on school and kind of delay that progress. And some people are capable of doing both at the same time, but not me. I have a one track mind, and I knew that I had to go follow my dreams and make that happen. So what ended up happening, the real tipping point for me was doing American Idol. That was really the thing that kind of solidified, me being like a full time musician. And since then, like that's really all that I've been doing. And maybe in the future, like I'll go back and finish. I mean, I got a lot out of Belmont, and my I think I was there for officially 3 years, and I wouldn't change a thing. I met my band. I grew into an adult from a kid, you know. Um, and I mean, we really, really got a lot out of those 3 years. And I feel like I got what I went for. I wasn't going for the piece of paper. I was going for the connections, and I was going for the development time. And yeah, it was all worth it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I thought I read something somewhere, someone mentioned it or something that you were, trained that way, even up and all the way up through college years. Um, Talk to me a little bit about American Idol. What was that experience like? You're the second guest I've had on that actually went down that path.
Who's the other one?
Mason from Old Crow Medicine Show.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Right.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
remember what year he was on or anything, but
yeah, I think I could be wrong, but he was either the season or two before me. It was incredible for a reason that was different than what I think I went into it expecting. I think that I originally had visions of grandeur about, the judges and about my career and stuff like that. But it ended up really like the best thing I got out of it was meeting the other artists there. Um, I don't really know that I expected to find any like-minded people there because I know how that show is, and I know that it's more of like a pop-centered show in general. Um, but when I went there, what I found were a bunch of incredible artists of all kinds of different genres. Um, and I mean, literally, like Hollywood Week is basically just, I mean, just imagine just the most talented, beautiful, put together, talented people you could ever imagine all in one place. And that's how it was. And it's really easy to get self conscious in that environment because these people are so young. Some of these people, I mean, are just singing circles around everybody and they're 16 years old. You know what I mean? So, and that's how the show is. It's from ages. I think it's like 15 or 16 to like 28 is the cap right now that they have on it. Which I don't believe The Voice has like an age cap, but um, yeah, I mean that was just a crazy experience, and I'm so thankful for the other artists that I got to meet, and a lot of them, even the ones who weren't even shown on the show, are doing incredibly well for themselves.
yeah, it's great. Yeah, that would be a trip, really. I don't really. I mean, I used to watch the show when I was a kid or whatever, but I don't watch it now. Like you said, it's not really my style of music either, for the most part of what's shown. But it would, I can appreciate the whole thing.
Yeah,
Uh, I think I would like the voice more.
yeah. Well, that's why I was so excited about it, though, is because I don't feel like I was what was the normal mold of the artist that they're looking for. So I mean I kind of had a good idea from the beginning I wasn't going to be the American Idol, but that's not really what I was looking for. I think I was just looking to boost, just like boost your following. I mean that's really what you do it for. You know what I mean? Not even to win as much, but I think that it was really cool, and I felt like I represented Nashville the best that I could. Um, and I will say I'm having a lot more fun now playing with my band than I ever had on that show. It was incredibly stressful, but it was worth it. I wouldn't change anything about it.
Yeah, that's great. So, you just got off the road. What's next? Are you working on another album, or are you putting together a summer tour? What kind of give us the rundown?
All of the above. So right now we've got two singles in the works. One that I will be announcing very, very soon. By the time this podcast airs, it will probably be announced. Um, but I'm super excited about it. It's a tune that we've been working on for a while called Shotgun Seat. And we wrote that one whenever we were out in Texas this past summer. A friend of mine named Gloria Anderson, we started writing that one together out on the road and came back home and finished it with a good friend of ours named Abigail Combs, who's just a great lyricist. And we finished the song, and then I don't know. We're working with a new producer now too, and he's great. He just really, really loves a lot of the same stuff that we love, and has a lot of the same influences that we have. And I feel like we're working really well together. So I would argue that this is easily the best stuff that we've ever put out. So it's good, and you constantly try and one up yourself all the time. So I feel like we've done that, and I'm really proud of this one. And I also commissioned a really great tattoo artist to design a flash sheet as the album cover, which I think is a little bit different. I'd never seen that done before, so I'm pretty excited about that. So we're working on that right now, and we're also working on getting a summer tour in the works. Probably back up to kind of the Northeast a little bit more. So I'm sure we'll pass through Indianapolis again and probably play Dukes again, hopefully.
Yeah.
But I know that we're also headed up towards like Pittsburgh and like maybe even Jersey and some places kind of more up in that region of the country, which I've never played at any of those places. So we're pretty excited about that.
Yeah. Branch out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I'll be there if you come through Dukes. I'll definitely be there.
Yeah, man. Dukes is honestly one of my favorite spots in the US now. It's incredible and arguably better than anywhere in Nashville.
Yeah. Nashville, I mean, as you know, being there, it's changed a lot. Everything's so commercial now, and Dukes is like down home, kind of gritty, honky tonk scene, but they've opened their doors more to all different types of sound, not just honky tonk. They're doing more like they might have. I'm throwing a folk show there. Um,
Great.
they're going to start having more bluegrass. They even have metal shows there now, so they're kind of branching out, but still, it's all kind of rooted around country music. So the
Yeah,
traditional
well,
stuff.
yeah, I mean, honestly, a lot of those music styles have a lot in common, including metal, surprisingly. I mean,
Hmm.
just a guy like Billy Strings, who I mean, was heavily influenced by metal music, but plays bluegrass. I mean, the right hand in both styles is pretty aggressive. So I think there's a lot more similarities than there are differences in those two genres. But yeah, I mean, Nashville has changed a lot, but I feel really lucky because the last couple of years I've been able to find community and people who are looking to make authentic music, and not just like you said, not just honky tonk or not just bluegrass, but I mean all different genres. I mean, there are some great artists here, kind of more on the east side of town. It's a little bit more open and authentic. I feel than West Nashville is kind of just the commercial country scene.
Where can you tell me a couple spots you actually frequent, or like where's some good spots to hear some good music? If someone's traveling through, where would they want make a pit stop?
Absolutely. Well, there are some incredible venues here. Some of the places that are very high on my list that a lot of people who aren't from here don't know about. One would be Star Rover Sound. That's a kind of a new venue, and that's actually in West Nashville. But the music there is always incredible. You can go see just some amazing musicians there any night of the week. They have great Mexican food. It's just a really, really good venue with great sound. And if you like, any kind of alternative country or swing music or blues or anything like that, perfect place to go see it. So that's Star Rover Sound. Another one is the Station Inn. Uh, that is a place that since I was like 15 or 16 years old, I've practically just lived in there trying to go see cool bands, and you could go in there. Another one, you can go in any night of the week and see a great band. They're going to play their ass off. And it's local. So you're all the money that they make, they give to the band as well. I mean, there's not a lot of places that do that anymore. Um, And the station inn treats the artists right. They treat their guests right. It's a great place to go see live music. So I frequent those places a lot. Of course, I'm always down there two stepping at the American Legion Post 82. Just a great place to go see good, authentic honky tonk music. And lately here, I have been going to the late night honky tonk show over at the Underdog. So if you go to the American Legion, you just walk literally right across the way. You'll be at the Underdog, and it's right next door. So you can go in there, and Todd Day Wait plays pretty much every Tuesday night in there, and that's just great music every single time. Great pedal steel players, great guitar players, great rhythm section every single time.
Yeah. That's I mean, I just wish we had that here, I swear. That
Yeah,
many choices and that option. I mean, we got a few venues that are, nice or whatnot, but it's not the same. Uh, I've been to a handful of those places that you're talking about. Um, I want to get over to Station Inn. It's a legendary historic spot. It's not nothing fancy, nothing flashy. It's just good, wholesome music. That's what you're there for. You're not for special lights and all that crap. Um, that's definitely one I'll probably hit next time I come through. But you ever go to D's at all?
oh yeah. D's is like the regular Friday night hangout spot for me usually. D's is cool. I used to play in like a Texas swing band there quite a bit. I played fiddle in that band, and it was great. I love D's. I would love to. I don't know, just like see more people find out about it from everywhere. And but I mean that's the thing about D's and the ownership at a place like that. It's an independent music venue. They're not changing. So they can keep growing and keep growing, but that authenticity is still there. Where with a lot of places in Nashville, it's just simply not like that. They may start out small, but they're owned by big people, and quickly it for lack of better terms, it just kind of goes to crap. And you know how it is. But I mean,
Yeah.
D's is one of those places that's just a local staple. It's a little bit off the beaten path. It's outside of town. It's in Madison. So I love that spot.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it too. Yeah. I think as far as like the strip goes, the only one I really go to would be Roberts.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, well, every now and then down on by the river there, Acme. Just depends who's playing, but yeah.
Yeah,
So anyone
yeah.
listening, if you're traveling through, there's some spots there. If you're looking for more, I don't know if you want to say under the radar or less pop or radio commercial sounding country, those are probably better spots to go check out. Especially, I'm always down for good Mexican food too. I'm gonna have to try that joint out. I haven't been there or heard of it.
Oh yeah, I mean, a bunch of great, artists in the honky tonk scene here are playing at that place, and I really can't say enough good things about it. Where I'm actually getting to play there for the first time tomorrow. I've been fortunate enough to sit in a few of my friends' bands up there, and it's just been such a great time. So I love Star Rover. Yeah, we actually did play Broadway for a summer. We did that. We played at a little bar. I say little bar. It was a big honky tonk that was oftentimes empty, um, called Paradise Park, and it's no longer there anymore. It was bought by Garth Brooks recently. So because we really needed another celebrity bar. So so they're going to do something with that, I guess. But yeah, we played there once or twice a week. We had the shittiest slot, um, and it was hot. The air conditioning was off most of the time. Uh, we shot our hearing every single time we were there. But I'll tell you what, our chops got way better from playing down there, just because you're just down there, working on your craft every single week. And they let us play what we wanted to play, which was nice.
Yeah,
So that place was all right. I'm kind of sad it's gone, but I really don't miss playing down there on Broadway at all. Fighting with the traffic, and it's a lot more fun for me to just go out and like see some like I love packed joints. Like I like to go into like the Legion, and it's just packed all the way to the gills. I like that, but I don't know, just fighting with that traffic is just impossible down there on Broadway.
yeah. Especially like loading in and loading out. That would just be yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, you gotta carry, a full amp, guitar rig, whatever you're carrying, pedal steel rigs in some cases, which are massive, and you gotta, push them through those hordes of tourists who, they don't care what you're doing. They're going to walk right through you.
Man, especially if they're hammered.
Which they are always, all the time, all day. They get started early, so you can be out there at 10 and it's like that, 10 a.m.
That's crazy, man. Uh, I had another question I was going to ask you. I was thinking of today. Any relation to Tex Ritter?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, so for the history buffs out there, so my family has been here on through my line 12 generations from Holland, the Ritters. And Ritter actually means knight or rider on horseback. Um, so our family, including Texas, were originally knights in Holland. Now, basically, what had happened is four brothers sailed here from Holland in, I believe, like 1690 or something like that. Um, and those four brothers ended up settling in Pennsylvania when it was just a colony at the time. Um, they were land surveyors, so they were kind of like mountain men who would go and make maps and document, the landscape and some of the vegetation and animal life and stuff like that. And they were pretty rugged people. Eventually, once westward expansion started, uh, some of one of the other brothers' line ended up going to Texas and wound up down there, and that's where Tex Ritter, his family, actually comes from. So we actually are indeed related. You have to go all the way back 12 generations to find our most common ancestor, but yeah, we are related.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's funny. So are you a history buff too, or what? Or
Oh yeah.
just
I'm a huge nerd. Love history. Love music history. In fact, today I was listening to a podcast about Alcatraz on my entire car ride home. So yeah, I'm definitely a history buff.
that's awesome. Yeah, I the older I get, the more I go down that rabbit hole too. Like, when I was in high school, I probably didn't really care too much about that. But now it's like I only watch documentaries and, want to read about some historic music figure or something like that. Or I
Yeah,
trace my family lines through ancestry now, and I did that whole thing.
yeah. Well, I see you
Fascinating.
got some taxidermy up there on the wall, and I know you work in a taxidermy shop. And you know, I would, you know, like think that you'd probably be super interested in a lot of like the early like fur trappers and mountain men and stuff like that. I think that that's just such a cool era of
Oh,
time.
it is. It is. It's great. A lot of history there, as you know. But yeah, you could go down that rabbit hole forever. I do look up that stuff too as well. Um, I think the expanding west, not just for the gold, but for beaver hides, is like fascinating to me. To think that a lot of this country was, built around that alone.
Yeah,
It's like what? This is American eagle is like our symbol. I think it should be the American beaver.
yeah, yeah. I totally agree.
That's
Trade
hilarious.
for years and years. I mean, and just pelts to supply the East, and I mean, eventually, obviously, we all know that it westward expansion ended up being a lot of things for the U.S. And I don't know. I like to document that kind of stuff in music too. I'm really fascinated and inspired by that part of the country. I think that it's unlike anything. And I grew up over here. So I mean, we had a lot of beautiful mountains here in the Appalachians and just in Tennessee and in general. I spent a lot of time. Going up between Tennessee, Kentucky, and Ohio because my dad's side of the family's in Ohio. So I spent a lot of time just kind of, just on I-75 and in between all these states and they all have their own individual beauty to offer, but there's just something different about the West, and I think it's captivating, and I really draw a lot of inspiration uh, from that era and just the natural beauty of that, and I think that that definitely translates into my music. I love especially the old spaghetti western music, and I'm kind of trying to bring back some of those sounds into what I'm doing too.
Yeah, yeah. Keep doing that too. I love it. Uh, Man, there was some. else I was gonna tell you about that was funny. I can't think of right off. I should write shit down, you know.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah, I do that though, then the whole conversation becomes like real robotic. So I like the natural flow of just hanging out. That's kind of the whole vibe of the show is just more or less hanging out with the artist.
Yeah,
So
man. Great. I love this
pros and
podcast.
cons.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you run a great show.
Yeah, thanks. I'm getting better. You know, I'm learning as I go. Uh, I got big plans for this summer once I get this studio built out here, and hopefully things, really take off then. But love to have you out sometime once that happens too.
Yeah, man. We'll play Dukes and swing by.
Yeah, do a little recording or something. Um, is there a website that people should go check out, or just social media?
Both, both. So our website is ColeRitterandtheNightOwls.com. And our social media is just Cole Ritter and the Night Owls as well. But you can also follow me individually at Cole Wesley Ritter. And we post kind of different updates on each, but follow both of them. Yeah, we're going to be sharing a lot of new music coming out soon. So we're really excited about that.
Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate your time. It's been a blast, man. Like I said, I'll be around if you're around this way, and I frequent Nashville every now and then. If you got a gig going on, I'll be there.
Absolutely. Swing on by anytime.
All right, buddy. We'll see you later.
All right. Thank you, Justin.